Hello everyone, my name is Saburo Takashima. I'm a chief instructor of Aikido Sengenkan. So I'm posting this series of Aikido Sengenkan techniques, and we reached the technique of Ikajo until last time. But today I would like to share with you the idea of Tai Sabaki movements, particularly against multiple attack for Tasudori. Known as Tasudori in Aikido. Because I have the largest subscribe on my YouTube channel, the Tai Sabaki, which we did like maybe 4 times back. So today I would like to show you some of the idea of the Tai Sabaki against the front head strike, which we can use in multiple attack. Well, having said that, we normally encourage our students not to use too much Tai Sabaki when they start doing the multiple attack technique against jiwaza against multiple attack. We encourage our students to do throw or apply techniques rather than doing Tai Sabaki. But when it comes to like Tai Sabaki against 4 or 5, a large number of attackers, this Tai Sabaki would help you a lot. So again, for 2 attackers multiple attack, 3 attackers multiple attack, I want you to remember that we should encourage our students to not to do much Tai Sabaki, but rather do techniques. Okay? But anyway, I'll try to give you the idea of Tai Sabaki this time. So last time I give you the general idea of how to stretch your partner and move away from his attacking line so that we can, escape his attack. Which is, is, for example, when it comes to Shomeoji, but you basically enter and stretch him. Okay? Once he's stretched, you'll probably not be able to change his attacking directions. That is where you can escape his movements, and at the same time you can break his bound. That was the original idea about Tai Sabaki. So basically, idea is the same, except that there's some small points are different. Okay? So, for example, when it comes to multiple attack, we usually, so let's say 3 people coming with a Shomeoji, we usually attack the outside person and stretch him and throw him. And here comes another attacker. This is where you do Tai Sabaki of stretching and moving away. And then, kotegaeshi again. Kotegaeshi inside turn and throw him first. And then after I throw, next attacker, you raise your hand, stretch it, and move away, and kotegaeshi. So the first Tai Sabaki is stretching, and the leg movement would be slightly shrink and move to the side and cross section. And this is very easy, and of course the Tai Sabaki itself you need to work on, more than several times. But this is a very simple way. Another Tai Sabaki, for example, kotegaeshi, and next person comes in Shomeoji is shoulder ender and through. Okay? This one, I probably explained in the previous Tai Sabaki series, is you basically stretch a little bit and then move, enter from the shoulder. Enter from the shoulder. But within this movement, I have this movement. Slightly stretching and enter. Stretching and enter. And ultimately, you just don't show it. This one. Okay? This is not just moving away. This one, he can trace you and attack it. Okay? If I just moving away, he traces you and attack you. You have to enter and stretch. Okay? So this is number 2. First, this head. Second, this head. And then go to the next one. Okay? Next one is basically you let your opponent trace his target and stretch it, which is using hand. This one. Okay? He is your opponent is first lock the target on my hands, and you basically using your target hands to wherever the direction you want to lead him, and then moving away. For this one, you let him down, and then move. Okay? let it down, and okay, and then this can be very useful too. Okay, so okay, after you throw someone, if someone comes up and down, up and down, this can be used. That's also number 3. Okay, number 4. This is not very practical for multiple attack because after you tie Sabaki, you want to go to the other person. But occasionally, when you don't have time, you have a tie Sabaki such as just opening the body. This usually I use the hand, up and down. Okay. If you want to slow his attacking base, you can also apply a thing here, and he go open. That help you to slow down his movements as well. So when that happens, I take a pull, and then you pull. This I'm sure how to use a lot of this push, or you can have this kind of pull, and then you move. Okay. This idea comes from shoulder Yunaichi, moving away, let it down, and enter. Come from the basics, you know. Up, open, leg down, and go. Afterwards, we do this one, down. Okay. This type of very happy. And again, these Tai Sabaki, can be practiced at first place, and then you also add some techniques for this particular multiple attack things, which is, for example, you use any techniques for Aikido, in Jiwata, for example. If you do these things, it requires too much time that it allows rest of the people to attack you easily. So you don't do such things as like Ikajunage or Hijiate during this multiple. You usually do a technique that can be take your partner down in instant moment, which is, for example, this is popular. I'm sure that how to use this one a lot, or Irimizuki, sorry, Irimizuki. That's also Irimizuki. Go for the next one, okay? Or another thing, enter and open this. Enter, this sort of thing. These are the main 3 techniques which I use for the multiple attack. Again, I said when you have to start teaching multiple technique against multiple attack, I would recommend students to do too much Tai Sabaki. Rather, I'll encourage students to just do the techniques. And these are the techniques which we use for multiple attack. For example, Kokigashi I did, and there's another guy can, and Kokigashi bam. And then Tai Sabaki maybe, and Kokigashi, and sometimes Irimizu, bam. And then Tai Sabaki and Kokigashi. And throw, and use this one, bam. And Kokigashi. So, I present you a very simple technique of Tai Sabaki against Shomen strike this time. But if you want to understand more detailed point, please have a look at the previous Tai Sabaki, because I explained in a chronological order that how the Tai Sabaki being taught by Inoue-sensei through the sword movements. Okay, the idea is basically you stretching and cut down. This is how we started, and then we did with empty hand movements, everything. And today I show you the Tai Sabaki more from the multiple attack approach. But again, I would want you to teach the Irimizuki or Kokinage or another Kokinage to your students when they start learning multiple attack. Tai Sabaki can be used afterwards. This is advice from my senseis, like Inoue-sensei and Chida-sensei, that when you do multiple attack, try to throw as much as possible rather than doing Tai Sabaki. That was a very important advice, I remember. So when I teach my students, I encourage my students to do technique against the multiple. First is Kotegashi, outside turn, or inside turn, Uchioke Kotegashi. And then Kokinage, bam. Or even both sides, this side, or this side. And also, rope and then go to other person. These are the basic techniques I usually teach for multiple attack against shomen strike. And these techniques will be different when it comes to different attacks. For example, attacks with the strike, I mean the punch, front punch, or thrust with the dagger, or thrust from the top from the dagger, and against the sword attack. Technique will be different, but some are there are similarities of course. For example, I'll do it in the next version, next series, but when it comes to Shomenski, usually it has about this one, or this one, and because this one you can attack a lot of head. This one, or this one, or this also possible. Okay. So it depends on the attack, the Tai Sabaki can be changed. I mean, these are technical, I'm sorry, but technically different. Okay. So in next Tai Sabaki series, I'm thinking of showing against thrust with a dagger, front thrust. Okay, because front head thrust with dagger they're similarity on the shonen uchi as well. Okay. So this is it for today, and looking forward to seeing you.